I am going to try and make sense of a massive cultural phenomenon. The mission here is to unpack this sprawling, frankly bizarre movement that combines AI, total absurdism, and some very real anxiety about the state of our minds. And there is really only one place to start: the moment that anxiety got an official stamp of approval. The Oxford Word of the Year for 2024 is brainrot, which feels less like a word and more like a collective cultural sigh. It is defined as the supposed deterioration of a person's mental or intellectual state, especially viewed as the result of overconsumption of material considered to be trivial or unchallenging. It is not just doom scrolling, it is intellectual malnutrition delivered by fiber optics. The numbers back this up. Usage of the term itself shot up by 230% between 2023 and 2024. The fear of what this content is doing to us is very real. But the core idea that simple content damages the mind is not new at all. The term brain rot has a surprising history. Its first recorded use was in 1854 in Henry David Thoreau's Walden. Criticizing his own society for devaluing complex ideas, he wrote, "While England endeavors to cure the potato rot, will not any endeavor to cure the brain rot?" A 19th century naturalist basically anticipating the effect of TikTok. So there is a century-old concern, but in 2025 it acquires a bizarre new face: Italian brain rot. The content associated with it has been described as digital sloptonment, rapidly made, low effort, AI driven material designed for one thing only: maximum attention capture. It is digital junk food. Italian brain rot, visually and orally, is chaos. It consists of surreal, AI generated creatures, animal machine hybrids with pseudo Italian names, placed in extremely fast paced videos, often narrated by a nonsensical, robotic AI voice that sounds vaguely Italian. The whole thing is designed to be meaningless. Crucially, the trend was amplified by the very people supposedly suffering from the rot: Gen Z and Gen Alpha. The whole thing is fueled by cheeky self-awareness. They know the social media ecosystem they inherited is low quality, so instead of rejecting it, they dive headfirst into the absurdity. They create the slop, but they are also, in a way, critiquing it. The trend started on Italian TikTok in early 2025, but went global almost instantly. From there, it developed its own language, a whole vernacular. Brain rot slang spreads offline. Terms like skibidi, meaning nonsensical, or Ohio, which has drifted into meaning anything embarrassing or weird, began online, but are now heard in everyday conversation. Every universe, even a slop-based one, needs an origin story. In this case, the founding figure was Tralalero Tralala, the three-legged shark wearing bright blue Nike sneakers. That image captures the whole vibe: absurd, yet layered with hyper-specific modern branding. It screams random and current at the same time. Once this template was set, the weird name, the random mashup, the universe exploded. What is particularly fascinating is how quickly users transformed simple images into elaborate collaborative lore. Rivalries, backstories, power hierarchies, it all emerged through collective improvisation. It is a kind of anarchic, surrealist creativity. The central characters are revealing. Take Ballerina Cappuccina, one of the few feminine coded figures, a ballerina with a cappuccino cup for a head. Her storyline is essentially a soap opera on hyperspeed. The lore casts her as in love with a character named Lolo, who only loves Baola. She is then kidnapped by Ninja Cappuccino Assassino, who becomes her fiancé, only for her to cheat on him with the original shark, Tralalero Tralala. The narrative rule seems to be: always pick the most ridiculous twist available. It becomes a parody of plot itself. Then there is Tung 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 Sahur, which emerges from a completely different cultural space and carries a much creepier tone. This anthropomorphic wooden figure with a bat originates in Indonesian meme culture rather than Italian. The name mimics the sound of the bedug drum used during Ramadan to wake people for the sahur meal. The lore is genuinely unsettling. It functions as a warning that if you ignore the call to sahur 3 times, this terrifying figure will appear at your door. There are serious rumors of production companies developing a film around this character. It has crossed over. For pure, almost beautiful nonsense, there is Brr Patapim, another hybrid, a proboscis monkey tree mashup with roots for legs and a long nose. Its story is a rambling, self deprecating epic about finding a golden hat with a blue frog named Slim already living inside. A wizard named Tiramisu helps blow the frog away with a balloon. It is perfect nonsense. At this point, it becomes important to ask why such chaos resonates. What is the meta commentary? The lore reveals a kind of cynical logic. It comments on how impossible it feels to sustain a real story in a world of infinite, meaningless digital input. The constant inclusion of brands, Nike sneakers, food references, logos, suggests that consumerism is the only stable connective tissue in this chaotic universe. The rule of the world is that everything is random, except for the brands we buy. This is anarchic creativity reflecting a generation that experiences culture as something endlessly remixable through digital filters. Naturally, power rankings emerge. Characters are pitted against each other and assigned absurd abilities. La Lulula, an elephant cactus hybrid, can stop time. Trofeo Trippy Troppy Trippy, a shrimp cat hybrid, generates feline tsunamis. The powers are as ridiculous as the characters. However, one figure pushes this universe beyond silliness into genuine controversy. Bombardiro Crocodilo, the crocodile bomber plane hybrid with the power of military flight and explosive bombing. This character becomes the lightning rod, the point where criticism intensifies and observers are forced to look beyond the goofy surface. What appears to be harmless AI fun is, in some instances, hiding real hostility. The audio is crucial. The original Tralalero Tralala soundtrack that circulated widely contained a vulgar Italian phrase, Porco Dio e Porco Allah, which blasphemes both God and Allah. Many non-Italian users were unknowingly sharing a severe religious slur simply by using the sound. The Bombardiro Crocodilo audio escalates this. The narration explicitly describes the character flying to bomb children in Gaza, in Palestine, and not believing in Allah. This sparked intense controversy about casual cruelty being laundered through humor. This level of toxicity has led analysts to interpret the phenomenon through two historical lenses: digital Dada and futurist fascism. On one side, Brainrot is framed as digital Dada, intentional absurdity, and a total parody of internet culture, echoing the original Dadaists after World War I, who rejected meaning because the world itself felt senseless. In that reading, brain rot is a response to information overload. It rejects meaning because meaning has become too much. On the other side, the militarism and aggression point towards darker, specifically Italian influences. The obsession with military technology embodied by Bombardiro, the rigid gender stereotypes in a character like Ballerina Cappuccina. These elements echo Italian futurism. Early 20th century futurists celebrated machines, speed, violence, and war. They wanted to destroy traditional culture. Bombardiro Crocodilo has been explicitly compared to aeropitura, a futurist art form that aestheticized aerial bombing. It made bombing look beautiful. Speed, chaos, and mechanical destruction become a digital echo of an aggressive ideology. This is a remarkably dark place to arrive at from a three-legged shark. The danger, or perhaps the dark genius, of brain rot is that its format protects the toxicity. This is the irony shield, a key tactic. Harmful statements like the racist undertones some hear in Chimpanzini Bananini audio, which leans on the ape insult historically used against black and indigenous people, are wrapped in a chaotic, jokey tone. This grants creators plausible deniability. If you call out the bigotry, you are recast as humorless, someone who cannot take a joke. The irony shield also makes the content more shareable. And where mass attention goes, monetization follows. Perhaps the most shocking aspect is the speed of monetization. Brain rot demonstrates that sloptainment has immediate and immense market value. Gaming was a major vector. The Roblox game Steel, a brain rot, reached the number 1 spot on the platform. Its basic mechanic is ruthless. Players rob each other to collect brain rot characters. It resembles a hyper-capitalist Gen Alpha version of Pokemon. Its monetization model is aggressively pay to win. Players can purchase expensive power-ups, some costing up to the US $49.99 Robux tier. This has produced viral videos of young children sobbing after their costly characters are stolen, which perversely only drives more attention and more players into the game. It is a vicious, extremely profitable feedback loop. The phenomenon does not stop at gaming. Brainrot seeps into high finance via meme coins. Tralalero Tralala has its own coin. One such token reportedly surged 17,000% shortly after launch. These movements are driven entirely by character popularity, not by any underlying financial logic. Corporate brands have inevitably joined in, signaling that a meme has made it. Budget airlines, language learning apps, even luxury fashion houses such as Loewe use brain rot characters in advertising to capture instant engagement. Physical collectibles follow. Panini released the Smith It All Italian Brain Rot trading card game with 150 cards to collect. Stepping back, a paradox emerges. Italian brain rot is digital junk food, a sense annihilating drug, yet it has built a global, monetized, surprisingly structured universe. This suggests that digital junk food is not merely profitable, it is the dominant cultural engine. Creators use AI driven chaos to cynically comment on the low quality culture they inhabit, but that critique is so catchy and rapid that it becomes massively profitable itself. This leads to a larger question. If the most dynamic creative frontier in our attention economy is pure meaninglessness, what happens when critique becomes commerce? When speed and low effort slop are celebrated as the primary frontier of innovation, what does that imply for the future of high effort creativity and sustained human attention? The challenge now is to distinguish between revolutionary absurdity and commercially viable trash. The brain rot universe suggests that, at this moment, those two things often occupy the same space.